Oh, me?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much again for tuning in to episode number 8 on Ravon Unfiltered. I am Ravon, and I have a wonderful guest with me today. Her name is Tammy, and I love her so much. You know, I love bringing my family, child. And this is somebody who pretty much knows me inside and out and knows everything. But here today, we are going to get to know a little bit more about Miss Tammy. And she's looking so beautiful. I love your lipstick and your makeup. It's so pretty. I'm such a tomboy, y'all. She came up on here with that glow. She got that glow today.
Thank you.
Today's episode is Remember When. On the trip to Baltimore, 2 epic things happened for me because of you. For one, anybody who have seen Derek Zoolander, that was the first time I ever watched Derek Zoolander. We made a pit stop in Virginia because
We did.
people needed to rest from driving. And we were all
No,
sitting
he
in
wanted to see his high school buddy. He wanted to see one of his high school buddies.
Well, I didn't remember it that way. I remembered it as we was finna eat at someone's house and watch a great movie. I didn't know who the person was or anything. But when we got there, they put on a movie. They said, "Have you guys seen Derek Zoolander?" I said, "No, I haven't seen that." And I think this was the first time. Now, have you ever watched anything with Ben Stiller before this?
I think I'd seen a few things with him in it. I knew who he was.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
I mean,
he was on Saturday Night Live, I think. Maybe I'm getting him mixed up with Chris Kattan. I don't remember, but I knew who he was at the time.
You did?
Yeah.
I was so green. I did not know of him. I didn't know what he did. Now, at this moment, all I could remember was the still move. How is it? Hansel. He's so hot right now.
That Hansel is so hot right now.
Oh, he's so hot right now.
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell always had me laughing anyway when it came to Saturday Night Live because him and the other lady just always had me cracking up with their little high school stuff.
Terry, the little cheerleader.
Harry.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And you were the one who got me into watching Saturday Night Live because
it still comes on. They have a funny one every 4 or 5 months or so.
Yeah, it takes the writers that long. But anyway.
They got to crank that stuff out every week sometimes, so I don't really.
Yeah, I don't judge them at all. I was joking. So you writers,
they can't all be winners, but the damn show's been on for 50 years, so they're doing something right.
They're doing something very right. Sketch comedy is hard to push out.
It's hard. It is hard.
Speaking of that, real quick, correct me if I'm wrong. You used to be in drama back in high school, correct?
No, my high school didn't have a drama. I did theater in college.
In college, okay. See, in my mind, you always been young. That was high school for me, in my head.
Isn't that interesting?
How was it doing theater in college?
Fun. It was the most fun ever until I had more fun than that. I left Augusta because I had to get away from an old shady dude I was addicted to. And I moved back out to Colorado because I had been living there before. I went to school there, went to grade school here, which is where I live now. Went to grade school here, and then so I went to Augusta because that's where I'm from. So that was always my anchor. Went back there for high school. Came back here for college after a few years, and I didn't have anything. So I moved on campus, and I was 24 years old. I was old. So I moved on campus with all the 19-year-olds and 17 to 18-year-olds. And I took a theater class, and I joined a show, and I met some people, and I still talk to those people right now. And I've known them for 20 years because that was back in 2003. I met some of the finest people. I met some of the shittiest people. But I also met some of the finest people that I've ever known. My best friend at this point, I met her through theater some years ago, and it was just fun. I got to travel. I did summer stock in the summer, so you find a town that's doing it with a theater, and you stay in that town, and they put you up. They give you a place to stay, and you have this grueling schedule, but you put out like 4 shows in 10 weeks or something insane like that. It's super duper fun. The cities that I traveled to allowed me to take day trips. I love my road trips. Allowed me to take day trips to other cities. So like, with summer stock, you'll end up in some podunk town, and all they have through the whole summer is like the theater and some kind of local festival for whatever they grow there, the cotton festival, the corn festival, the watermelon, or whatever. But when you get there, because I went to one that was in Delaware, and it was in what is that city? Not Delaware, it's New Hampshire. There wasn't anything near that. Not in, the city I was in, but close by, we got to take day trips to Boston. We took day trips up to Vermont to see the Ben and Jerry's factory. We took day trips we took a weekend trip to Montreal. That's a whole different story, friend. But so theater allowed me to do a lot of that stuff. And it also got me into a great grad school that I subsequently dropped out of. And so, yeah, it was a great time. And I honed a lot of my skills. I got to like myself a lot more. And I learned all the different areas in the theater. So it was a good time.
And speaking on that, when it comes to, so for me, you know how it is. We view ourselves one way, and every other people view you their own ways. For me, I always felt like you exude confidence. I became a chef because of you, because of what you were showing me in the kitchen, and when you were in culinary school and the things that you were pursuing. I was like, I want to be that. I want to be that confident, and I love to cook. My passion for food and stuff like that, you're showing me. I still know how to crack an egg with one hand because of you.
You have to. And you got to think about how awesome you are every time you do it. Like, yep, I'm the shit.
I do. I brag about it a little bit while I'm doing it. I tell my husband, can you crack one egg? Can you crack egg with one hand? Can you do it? And then I'll show Maya how to do it. I was like, can you do it? Yeah. That was because of you. But
fortunately enough, the eggshells kind of stuck together, so it kind of keeps itself, and you get to look like a gangster. You just bang it.
I think maybe once or twice I dropped a small piece of shell inside, but I was able to scoop it out.
Nobody know that. Don't nobody know that. That's fine. No. Don't nobody know that.
But for the aesthetics part, slow motion. But one thing I wanted to say, because I feel like maybe this will help others as well that may have felt like how I felt, and maybe how you may feel sometimes, I don't know. But when we think, like you said, finding yourself and loving yourself more, how do we, for one, realize that we're not loving ourselves enough to identify the issue and then to turn it around to fix, or at least walk towards the steps of loving yourself more? When you were in college and you had to go through that whole process, and maybe now, depending on how, your life is going, because I know with me, even almost at 40, I have to take moments and be like, well, I'm still good. I'm okay. I'm going to get better, and I'm doing good. How do you, for one, identify if you're loving yourself lesser than what you should, and then the steps to kind of start loving yourself?
I think that's a great question. It's a tough one, because for me to say, how would somebody do that definitively? I can say absolutely. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know how people do what they do. I know what I do. I'm really sensitive. I have sensitive skin. I'll break out. I'm sensitive to pain. The smallest things are very painful for me. I'm sensitive emotionally. I'm sensitive to smells. I'm sensitive to taste. I'm sensitive to tags in the back of my clothes. I'm a very sensitive person. And so every day, I don't know what mood I'm going to wake up in, but I know that I have to be consistent for my husband and my daughter. I know that I have to be functional when I get to my job. So if I wake up in a rotten mood, I got to mitigate that before I need to go and do more of the things that I'm responsible for. So I can usually find out, if I'm in a rotten mood, there is something wrong. And there's a checklist. Well, have you wronged? The most important one is the one that I'll say for last and mention in just a second. But have you wronged another person? Have you gone against your personal values? Did you go out and steal something when you know that you are not a thief? Did you go and, did you do something that's not in line with who you believe yourself to be? And then after all that, the question is, have you wronged yourself? Well, I had a lot to drink before I went to bed last night, so I wronged myself. And that, that's something that I can address. And then once I address it, whatever it might take, a little bit of extra water, a little bit of extra time, to get out of bed and have my coffee before the family gets up, then that's what I'll give myself. Have I wronged myself? Did I tell someone that I would do something that I really did not want to do? Or did I go through with it and do something that I really did not want to do? Did I go to a party I didn't want to go to? Did I tell somebody I would keep their kid when I really didn't feel like it? So if that's a way that I've wronged myself, then I have to say, well, that has happened and this is how I feel. How will I mitigate that in the future? Because I could just ignore it and be like, man, I did that and it was so wrong. And I can't believe I did that to myself. I'm stupid, stupid, stupid. I keep doing this and blah, blah, blah. But focusing on the past is the past. It's not going to change. What am I going to do in the future so that I don't have to go through this again? Or when it comes up again, am I going to decide, okay, hey, if I have these drinks before I go to bed, I know I have to get up early. I know it's going to make me feel not very good. I want to have this fun now. What am I going to need to do to get where I need to be? And am I prepared to do that? If the answer is no, maybe I shouldn't have any drinks. If the answer is yes, then, and it's, maybe it's my friend's birthday or something. I just want to hang out. Happens to be a Thursday night. So in order to get back to my confidence, and there's another thing. A little while ago, you said that I spoiled you and I didn't want to interrupt you. But my first thought was, well, you always spoil pretty girls and all girls are pretty. And the other thing, it's just, being like, hey, I'm pretty decent. I got a lot of good qualities. I have skills. I know how to learn stuff. I like talking to people. I have hobbies and I'm pretty. And all of these things are true, even if they don't feel true. And so, just kind of telling yourself, well, I know for a fact that I looked good yesterday. And even though I feel like crap today, that didn't change how I look. So I can still go out there knowing that I look good. And that's one thing. And then it just kind of holds your head up when you're like, it's okay. I like who's in the mirror. And your head just it lifts itself. That's all I do is just kind of remind myself, wait a minute, I'm awesome.
Sometimes that's all it takes is words to yourself to remind yourself of who you are. And I do understand the fact that no one has a copy paste answer to anyone's life, even our own, because your answer today could be different for tomorrow, because tomorrow's different. Everybody who's walking on this planet is a different person. They have different experiences, different backgrounds. But what I've learned before I started really understanding different situations and problems or triggers that I may deal with, it's so easier to listen to someone, like how you eloquently explained how you go through your process of your checklist. That right there, someone can say, hey, this might work for me, or pick and identify different things that they can at least try to focus and zero on. If I know I like to do these things, did I do something that I may have not liked or is against who I want to be, and this is why I'm feeling down today? The fact that you took the time to even self-check points and start evaluating yourself, and you're very self-aware. Sometimes people are not self-aware. They're just aware of their surroundings and what people are doing to them instead of what, we have to take accountability. The fact that you took accountability, because I think that's another thing that's going out in the airways, is that women are not accountable for anything. That's all that, bashing that we do, because other people do. And there's other women that are bashing other sex groups and things like that. It's very kind of like,
yeah, women aren't accountable for anything, and all the children of the world are starving to death in puddles of poop.
everything's
Whatever.
bad. But I love talks like these because my goal is, for one, is to get an unfiltered experience with a human being that I'm speaking to, so they can kind of express things that they're trying to get out. Also, people who are not in our world and don't know different things or haven't experienced things, or maybe need to see a different point of view of what's already been thrown out there in the mainstream, they can get something real here. I've actually learned a couple of things from you just by hearing you saying those things that I can apply or at least help navigate through my situations, because we talk all the time. You know a little bit of very more raw and uncut of what I deal with before every show, before I do anything, before whatever. It's very anxiety ridden at times, and then you would talk me off of the emotional edge. And sometimes we need that. We need people that have positive reinforcements in our lives to get us off of that emotional edge, to just bring life into a reasonable standpoint, to say, it's okay to feel this way in this moment, but what is the actions we're going to do to move forward? And I love how you had a B, C, D process.
Thanks.
I don't know. I'm definitely going to have to re-listen to that and apply some things. And if not the checkpoints alone, just what is going on, how to address it, and what are we going to do to move forward? And again, I love your talks. I know you did discuss with me that you, and I hope this is okay to say, and if not, I'll cut it out. You have discussed with me in the
Don't you be
process.
on here telling my business.
It is your business, literally. So the business that you were discussing with me, and another reason why I wanted to say this, because for those who do like to hear more of what she may say, I love her speaking voice. Well, your speaking voice. I love your speaking voice, and how once you have a thought process, you really push it through and convey the message out there to others. So I know you were saying that you were going to have a podcast coming up here soon. And once you get those things together, I definitely can't wait to be on the podcast. I know it will be on different topics of different type of things, which I'm still excited because it's good to see different sides and points of views in different worlds, because someone's stuck in their own little world and they can live vicariously through your podcast to see how these other individuals live their life. Is there anything that you would like to give us a little drop of what that may be, or are we going to leave it there where I just kind of give,
Well,
coming
that's pretty much
soon?
where it is, to be honest. At this point, it's still in the dream phase. It's getting kind of nailed down on paper, working on getting my confidence up a little bit so I can jump in and do it. But it's still just an idea. Talk to me in about 2 weeks. I should have some further things, but at this point, it's just I want to do that sort of thing.
And question on that, let me expound upon that part right there. When you have a
Expound, my
dream,
dear.
yes, when you have a dream, how do you bring it to fruition? Like what? I know you say you're looking for the confidence. I know you say
Oh,
you're looking.
damn no. I've never
Well, for
brought a dream to
you,
fruition.
are you serious? Okay,
I don't
you
know.
wanted to
Maybe I
go.
have, and I don't know that it's a dream, but I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Okay. So what are you currently doing in your process to make this dream into reality?
I don't know. I'm going to set the studio up this weekend. I have a bunch of equipment in my house that I have been collecting over the years. There's some sound equipment, some soundproofing equipment. I got a microphone somewhere. So I'm going to set that up. And then I don't know. I don't know. It's just kind of moving along, and I have no idea. I wish that I did.
It's going to be so great is looking back at this some years from now and taking this and say, hey, remember that? Yeah. And look at where we are now. I love the fact that you actually have been collecting. Was it easier to kind of find and collect things because of your past hobbies and your college background with you being in theater? Was it easier to find the items that you're collecting to help with your dream?
My mom, I got that from my mom. My mother has taste. My mother has impeccable taste in the quality of items and things like that. So when she picks something in her mind, she's picking something because she likes it. But in reality, that breaks down to it has a really good quality. It has a nice look. I know exactly where I can put that or what I can do with it. And so that kind of passed along. They said they passed it along with mother's milk, which is something that she didn't directly. I didn't have courses on it. I didn't have classes on it, but she has taste. And so I have a little bit of taste. So if I see something along my travels and my journeys, my life, I'm like, that's quality. I don't have a use for that right now, but I'm going to put this away if I can, because I will have a use for it at some point. And it's not hoarding because of the quality. So that's how I justify it in my head. Just kind of pick those things up.
I think that's beautiful because I noticed when both of you guys, you and your mother, when I met your mom in the house and everything like that, she always had very nice things. Very nice
Yes, she
things.
likes
It
nice
wasn't
things, and
trash.
she can pick them out. Yep.
Yes. And when you started doing your own thing from young adult into full adult, I watch you, everything that you was like, oh, that's nice. Okay, notes, take notes down. When I get a house, make sure I have my room set up like this. Pick a color scheme, pick a theme. Make sure that there's things that people touch and there's things that people don't touch. There's collectible items that go with the room. Like, people don't understand how valuable that is, because sometimes, like, even you don't know, you turn into an interior designer and not even know it. Because I'm that way now because of what I watched through. And this is another thing that women do need, and I strongly, strongly feel. Had I not had those moments with you and seeing your mom and certain other individuals in my life, yeah, I could have picked up and done some things on my own, but it's good to have an example. You guys were
Yeah, it is
great
nice.
examples for this.
Yeah, that is nice. I'm that person that's always like, okay, well, can you give me an example? Can you tell me what that looks like? That's what I say in interviews or something. Well, if this is the requirement, can you tell me what that looks like?
Wow, that's actually a good thing to say in interview. Excuse me, interviewer. So can you give me an example of what that looks like so I can see if I can apply it to what I can do for you? Would that be like kind of the way you would say it?
Oh no, I would just talk to him like we were talking. So if there was a break or something, and I would just start talking and say, well, what does that look like? What is this particular evaluation point? What does a good job on that one look like?
Hmm, I
Yeah,
gotcha.
they
But what?
expect you to have questions.
And sometimes the question is like, you're supposed to be questioning me. I don't want to question you.
They like you better if you ask them questions.
So
Because
I didn't
one
really
thing that I
know.
have been to a lot of is interviews.
So you just made me realize something that I really never understood. Because when they asked, do you have any questions for us? I used to freeze up and say, I don't have any questions, and then I'll leave out. Still got the job because I'm a banging person, but other
Right.
than that, had I been some regular schmo.
Just Google it or ask AI what are some good questions, and then they'll give you a list of questions, and then you'll come up on some and be like,
Well, see,
oh,
that's now.
I do want to know the answer to this question. So I'm going to write it down and take it with me and ask.
AI is wonderful now. We didn't have that back then. So what I started to learn, because I think somebody told me something down the line, and it could have been you. I don't remember. Someone told me down the line, like, start questioning them. And something in me kicked. I was like, okay. So every interview I started going to, I'm like, okay, so what do you expect of me? When, like, say the first day, what is this first day process? So what are we going through? And then in 3 months, what do you expect of me? Where do you expect to see me in a year in your company?
Mhm.
I can bring this to the table with my values and things like that. Do you see me actually being a good fit? Or do you feel, I think even one time, because one person said, I feel like you're actually going to take my job if I hire you. I asked him, I said, what makes you think that? What makes you feel like something in my qualities that I possess will make you think that I will overstep you and try to take your job? And I wasn't trying to say it in a rude way. I was just confused. Like, so what makes you think that? Because I'm here applying for entry level. No, this what they end up saying. They said, I see the hunger and driving you, and I I see it. I see you taking over. And I'm like, whoa, I'm peeking the brain
Okay,
now.
well, those people are threatened. So are there any other positions in this company that I might be able to apply for? Because if not, then you need to go. Because if he just sat there and told you that in the interview, I'm already scared of you. And then if
Yes.
he went on to hire you, you would never get anything good. You would never get any
And that's what
recommendations,
happened.
yeah.
That is what happened with a company that's no longer in business anymore. But it got really bad with that company. And had I picked out on those red flags, I would have saved myself. Now, I would like to go ahead and go back to, because I was talking to my husband yesterday, and he told me about this long road trip that he wants to do, the Pan America road trip. That brought me to when me and you used to do our road trips. And what was the one thing that we used to love to do? You would start off, you say, okay, you guys, I know we already had this conversation on episode number 1. So those watching episode number 8, when I say the name I'm about to say, go back to episode number 1 and reintroduce yourself to me. She would say, Jess. I'm like, what? Jess. I'm like, okay, what? She'd be like, they should start singing rap songs. So every rap song, she'd be like, I dance after a show.
My gosh, we used to rock that horrible song out so hard.
But man, you bring so much life into just the simplest things, and even now today, like I say, you guys that are watching, you just need somebody to bring life back into you. And this person is my ace. Like, I need to play this card a lot because I need to win, and she helps me win. But yes, is there anything else that you would like to expound upon, especially that moment with the car rides and the singing a cappella with the hood songs? I think that was the most funniest part.
Ravon, remember that time we went down to Florida and we were playing cribs in that rental house and we had like the big old video camera And we were all over the house and you were like coming down the stairs or something.
Yes, I remember that
Okay.
time for
That's
what I
what it made
can.
me think of. Huh?
I remember what I can from that time.
Right. That was tons of fun. It was so long ago though. We old.
Don't start. Look, my birthday is in a couple of weeks, and that's what made me remind myself a lot of these moments because when we were doing that Cribs episode, for one, let me tell y'all something. My cousin, I used to think she was rich, like rich, rich. And even though she said she was not, she said, "But you
Said far from it.
I always thought she was rich because in my head, this big cuz here, I'm like, she got everything. She got everything she want and need. Her mama got everything. You know, when you're younger, you view things on a bigger and grander scale. So when I'm sitting here with her, there's so many moments where it's a bigger, grander scale in my head, even in my mind to this day. And I know how much stuff costs. It's still big, grand scale. Tell me today, what would you get for the cost of the things that we just did? I'm going to explain it. She drove down in a rental car. No, I think it was your car. She drove down in her car from Florida. That's a lot of gas. We already know today's cost, there ain't no way. That's a car note payment for a very
We went from
expensive
Augusta
car.
to Orlando, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And in Orlando, we pull up. I didn't know no details. She's like, let's hop in the car, let's go. In the car, gone. So we get to the house. I felt like Will Smith pulling up to the Bel Air Estates. Because this house was huge. This house had at least...
It was 25 years ago, but it was just a
Tell my
rental
age, why
vacation.
won't
You
you?
get it there all over Florida. It was just a little Florida vacation rental with a pool in the back. They're all over the place down there.
Look, I ain't know nothing about no VRBO back then, okay? All I knew
That
was
was where I
that
got it,
my
even
cousin...
25 years ago, long before Airbnb.
All I knew was my cousin was pimping big style. Big pimping, spending cheese.
In my dreams.
Well, in my dreams, you was there. So okay, so I'm in the car. We pull up. In my mind, I'm like, this 8-bedroom mansion with a pool in the back that has a full screen. I mean, I'd never seen this in my life. Now, you Floridians, you guys probably have this. This is a day in your life every day. For us Augusta Georgians, which I was, I never seen a house that had a screen from the backyard, from the top of the second floor roof, all the way down to the ground.
I found out later that's called a lanai. I had only ever heard that word on the Golden Girls, but I found out that's called a lanai.
So them Golden Girls were sitting back drinking their coffee or gin, depending on who you was talking to, saying, oh, that's a lanai, child. That's a lanai.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie to you now. I never knew what a lanai was.
I didn't either. It was years later.
That lanai was so cool to see because in my head, I'm still visualizing right now. I'm going to the swim and I love to swim. And I'm like, no mosquitoes in Augusta?
Right.
There's mosquitoes at every cookout. You step out to go get the mail. You go outside to breathe.
We just kept them out. Yeah.
You go outside to breathe and there's just so much. But one thing I can say, my most epic road trips were with who? You.
Me?
Now, yes, before my husband entered into the chat, into my life.
Right.
The most road trips, and we went on 2. We went one to Florida, which I'm going to finish talking about because there was a lot of other cool stuff with that one.
Crazy trip.
And one for Baltimore. But the one to Florida, so I could finish wrapping that up real quick. You had me have a lot of experience of a lifetime. I never was able to travel and have my own bedroom. Now, when we traveled, we did hotel rooms especially with the family. You know how it was. It was hotel rooms with your siblings and cousins and stuff. You never really experienced your own.
That's part of the fun, but yeah.
Yeah. But when you start comparing, so you spoiled me. So when you start comparing me having to travel with a bunch of people, and then sometimes the older cousins got to watch the younger cousins, so it's more of a, now I'm playing babysitter instead of really enjoying stuff. If you want to go outside and hang with people your age, you got your little cousin that is up under you. You got to make sure they don't go eat dirt while you trying to play basketball with your friends or tag or whatever you're playing.
A pleasure.
But with Florida, is there anything that you definitely remember to just be the most epic moment?
No. It was so long ago. I remember you were there and our other cousin was there, but I don't remember any moments that stood out except that our other cousin, because she had just graduated from high school and she wanted to see Mickey Mouse so bad. And that line was the longest line in the whole park. But it was the one thing that she wanted to see when we went down there. So we stood
Oh,
in that line so she could see that mouse.
that is crazy. Well, then we went to Orlando Studios in Disney World, right?
We just went to Disney World, the Magic Kingdom.
Okay, maybe I'm getting it confused. Hey, that shows my age. Look, you guys, I don't remember. Let's move on. But one thing I do remember is that I was sitting here trying to swim late at night. And you were telling me, go to bed, go lay down. Now, being the fish that I was, because I love to swim, I was not paying attention to nothing you were saying. I was like, forget you. You're just trying to oppress me from my swimming privileges, and I don't appreciate this. So I dive in the pool anyway, and I'm just swimming, I'm swimming, I'm swimming. And then I think I had a moment where I think I was not doing so good at it. And I was like, okay, after that moment, I said, okay, I think it's time for me to go to bed. I'm gonna listen now.
Why?
So I went
Oh,
ahead and went to bed, and the next morning you was telling me all the stuff I was doing. I was like, I ain't do none of that. That's a lie. Yes, you did. I said, no, I didn't. And then I thought about it. I said, yeah, I did those things.
I'm done with you.
I was
I don't even
tired.
remember that.
I
That's
did those
funny.
things. Oh yeah, I remember a lot. I actually was dating or interested in someone at that moment. And you was like, I kept asking for that person. And I was like, I really want this person. But I'm not going to prolong you here too much today. What I would like to do, if you are willing to do it with me, is have another segment, have another part 2 to the interview with you so we can talk a little bit more about different things.
Maybe in a few weeks. Yeah, that sounds great.
I would love, love, love to have you on. But before we go, is there any closing remarks or anything that you want to say out to the public? Anything that you're working on that we can look forward to in the future? Just anything.
Thanks for having me, Ravon. I love you. It's so good to see you and talk to you. And it's just kind of a pleasure to be a part of what you're doing. It's fun and I feel really special. So thanks a ton.
Well, I really enjoyed you. I definitely also wanted to brag a little bit about my favorite cousin and person who is a key point of my upbringing in my life. You guys, this is definitely Ravon Unfiltered, and she's a part of Ravon, and I'm a part of her. And I love you, cousin. We will definitely,
I love
in a
you too,
couple of weeks
girl.
when you're
For sure.
available, we'll go ahead and redo this. But thank you guys. This again is episode number 8. We got Tammy and Ravon chatting it up a little bit on Remember When, whatever I could remember. And
Right?
we'll talk later. You guys have a good one. Have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching Ravon Unfiltered.